So we're continuing on with my discussion with the high school class in Connecticut on creativity from my book, Create. Please join us now. But look for people that you trust that can give you valid feedback. And sharing your work is, again, I mentioned that earlier, but that's a really important way of getting your creativity across to other people. Let them benefit from it. This was an exhibit of my photographs from a trip that I took in Mexico. Now, I don't know if I should say this to you guys as high school students, but I will. My third year of high school, I went to school in New England, in Vermont, northern Vermont. I loved the school. I loved Vermont. I loved New England. I skied every day after school, and I had a great education, but I came back to California, and my senior year was basically they were redoing everything I'd already covered in my junior year. It's too bad that I just didn't stay in Vermont, because I would have gotten that additional information and education that I needed. But I came back and I was bored. And it's in my book, Create. I actually figured out I only needed a couple of credits to graduate. And I talked the principal of my high school into letting me go to Mexico for my final semester in high school, which I did. I worked on a project in the remote mountains of Mexico, building a medical dispensary with just a handful of people. It was a phenomenal experience. And I took my camera with me and came back with dozens of rolls of really good photographs. I just immersed myself into that culture, and I'm still impressed with how I was able to basically make these photographs and put people at ease. If you ever have that opportunity, not necessarily to go off to Mexico, but just to really immerse yourself and spend time taking photographs or shooting films or whatever. Anyway, I came back many years later and put together an exhibit, and that was really fun. Think about yourself as an artist. You want to visualize, start with your vision, who you want to be as an artist, what you want to be. This is the time to do this, you guys. You're at a formative stage in your life where you can really form your future path. And if you're passionate about your art, take it seriously. I don't mean seriously by getting, heavy about it, but realize that you can begin your career at any moment. And that's really important. Where you want to go with your career is something I would highly recommend that you do these steps. Write down your vision of as an artist, and what is the area that you are that's easiest for you or the closest for you to achieve your goals in. Don't take the hardest thing. Like, I didn't start writing books until about 8 or 9 years ago. I always wanted to write a book, but it wasn't that easy. Writing isn't the easiest thing for me to do. I'm more of a visual person. So I waited until I had the time to do that. But it's easier for me to create photographs. I can create photographs and videos quite easily. So start with those things that are easiest for you to conquer and to master, and really improve those areas as a professional. I'm going to skip ahead to Q&A because I had some questions. I want to answer them. Luke, are you out there? Raise your hand so I can see you. There you are. Hi, Luke. Okay. What inspired you to be a photographer, and what feelings do you get when you look at your pictures? What inspired me was when I went into the darkroom. And I guess before that, I have to back up. My uncle was a photographer, and he helped me a lot. He encouraged me. He gave me a couple of really good lessons. He was from Baltimore and I was in California, so I didn't spend a lot of time with him, but he did inspire me. And I looked at books, just like I said. I looked at other really great artists, photographers, Ansel Adams for sure. And then when I went into the dark room, I got really inspired because all of a sudden I realized I can make these things really change in front of my eyes. And what feelings you get when you look at your pictures? Like for instance, looking at those pictures from Mexico, it's kind of a window into what I was like at that time. So it's really another cool thing about capturing photographs throughout your life. You get to kind of relive those experiences. So I would say that, and I really enjoy showing my work to other people. So that's a passion. Alejandra said, "Are you there, Alejandra?" No, yes, maybe. Okay. What gives you inspiration in all the places you travel? This is really important. When you travel, you have to put yourself in the mode of photographing. Is Alejandra on the other side? Did I miss her over there? Okay. There you are. See you. Thank you. You can't just be a tourist walking around. Tourists are like just looking into shops and where do I want to go to lunch and that sort of thing. You have to break away from other people, take your camera, and really what I call get into the zone, which means you're really looking for photographs. Otherwise, you're going to miss them. I get inspired. Also, another thing you can do is you can look at, before you go to that location, you can look at what other people have photographed. Not to copy them, but just to get an idea of what's out there. Like if I were coming to your area, to your high school, and I wanted to capture photographs, I would look around. I'd Google, into some of the areas nearby and see what are some cool places to go photograph. So that can actually kind of build where you're going, and you can build what's called a shot list and write down some shots you want to come back with. And Connor, we already answered this one. How do you train your eyes to find a good photo? Use this technique. Do this all the time, okay? I'm going to stop sharing here, and I don't know how much time. Do we have a few more minutes? Are we running out of time? Got a few more minutes. All right, I would like to hear some questions. So who has a question out there?
So she has artist block. She has a hard time coming up with ideas right now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, what do you do when you have that?
Artist block. Good. I'll give you a couple of things you can do. One, actually, it's in my book. There was a research project done at Stanford University nearby where I live in 2014, and they found that you can increase your creativity by 60% just by going out on a walk. That's kind of remarkable. Whenever I get stuck, I go for a walk. And that may seem like so ridiculously simple. How could that possibly do any good? Don't go on a walk, by the way, and hold your phone in front of your face. That's not going to work. Get off your phone. There's my dog, by the way. She's upstairs. I use her, by the way, in a lot of my portraits. Use people around you or animals as your models. That's something I really recommend. But that's one answer. Go out and take a walk. The other answer is just look at art form, listen to music until something resonates for you. And that little idea that pops into your head, write it down in your notebook. That's one reason you keep a notebook. Throughout the day, something may pop. Write it down. Don't forget about it. And then pursue that. And I believe that if you follow these points that I've mentioned here, which is using, do this, go out on walks, use your notebook, look at other people's art form, those ideas will come up. Let me know how that works. If it doesn't work for you, I'll give you some other ideas. You can get my email address from Mrs. Martin. I'd love to hear any follow-up questions you have or feedback. Well, my goal, as I said, is for you to take what I've gone over and put it to work. and you've got a copy of this book in your library, right? Create. So check it out, read it. Yep. In the back of every chapter are also assignments, because what's important is doing this stuff, not just thinking about it, but actually putting it to use. So you can do those assignments and write them down in your notebook. And any questions or feedback, you can find me on Instagram, as I mentioned, Marc Silber. You can, follow me on YouTube and you'll see my YouTube videos. You'll, hopefully benefit from that. And if you come to the West Coast, come to California, look me up. We'll go out and photograph together. Hey, I hope you guys did enjoy that. And as always, I love having you with us, and leave your comments, okay? And I love it when you share. And as always, remember to get out and capture your own images of life.